Welcome to the Firehouse. I'm your host, Captain Kyle Smith. You're responding down the road less traveled en route to financial freedom. If you're a first responder, then planning your future through financial literacy is a minimum requirement. This isn't financial advice, just a conversation to get your wheels turning. Ready? Good, because you're at sea. What's up, everyone? It's Captain Kyle Smith, and this week I sat down for a morning meeting with firefighter paramedic from Heartland Fire Department, Gabe Belloli. Gabe and his partner have figured out a way to flip apartment buildings in Southern California, and he shares his 3-step strategy on how to do it. Hope you guys enjoy it. Hey, Gabe, welcome to the bullpen. Thanks for meeting me.
Thanks for having me, Kyle. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm stoked to get you on here. I'm excited to hear about everything you're going to share with us here in your first alarm. But before we get into that, Gabe, how's the pandemic sort of affected you guys? You know, here we are a year into this thing. How has it affected things in your household?
It actually changed our house quite a bit. So my wife originally has been a hairdresser for many years. During the pandemic, as you know, they shut down all the salons for an extended period of time. During that time, she was actually pregnant with our second child. So we actually took that opportunity to kind of feel it out, what it would be like to have her be a stay-at-home mom, taking care of our one kid we had, and then the second one who was going to be born, who was born on July 5th of last year. So really, it was an opportunity for us to trial it out, to see what it was going to be like to live off of basically one income, our investments, and having her be at home, taking care of our kids and not having to trade the kids back and forth. Because it used to be basically I'd go to work, she'd have the kid. She'd go to work, I'd have the kid or kids. And this was a great opportunity for us to come together as a family and realize we could do this with one income. It's very plausible, very beneficial for our family, because the time that we were able to spend together as a family during the days that I had off just increased exponentially. And although we couldn't go out maybe and do as many things, that time together as a family, whether it was at home, walking down the street, just spending our time together, was extremely important. And that's how it's changed it for us. And honestly, it's on a very small micro level been a very good thing for our family.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. And guys listening, this is exactly why it's so important to have other streams of income. We talk about lateral streams of income, not just having to rely on one form. So for Gabe here, he was able to, through his other investments, basically back up the income that his wife was making, and was able to keep her at home. Just an awesome thing to do. And you're now trading that time for that extra money, man. I just love hearing that. Well, cool. You ready to get in your first alarm?
Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, let's do it. So Gabe, at the San Diego Fire Department, a first alarm assignment consists of 4 engines and a truck. But here at the Firehouse, I'll ask you 4 questions and you'll give us one piece of advice. Sound good?
Great. Sounds great.
Cool. Well, you're going to be first in on your first alarm. And when you're first in, you got to give a size up. That's who you are, where you work, and how long you've been doing it.
Yeah. So I work for Heartland Fire Rescue, City of El Cajon. That's going to be basically 20 to 30 minutes just east of downtown San Diego. I'm a firefighter paramedic, and I originally started with them 9 years ago. I actually started, prior to that, was working for Cal Fire for a few seasons, and then worked for the feds on a hand crew, which is a federal fire department, basically, for another season and a half prior to that.
Awesome. So well over a decade of service. So I want to just thank you for that up front. Now, how did you sort of get into the world of personal finance, or how did you get into real estate investing specifically? Was that something that you grew up with, or is that something that you kind of picked up along the way after joining the fire department?
So it was definitely along the way. I don't come from a family that has extravagant means, very middle class. My dad worked for 30 plus years as a civilian contractor for the federal government. Mom kind of worked secretary type jobs for many years. So I don't really come from a family of money, just hardworking people. And money was never talked about in my family, especially not real estate. So for me, it was just, living paycheck to paycheck for many years. When I actually got on the job here with the City of El Cajon, it is when I finally became aware of what really investing was, and that it was open to people like myself or everyday workers, not just put in your 30 years. And I give a lot of credit to not only my father-in-law, who kind of opened my eyes to that, but my current business partner, who was willing to sit with me, talk with me, He had extensive knowledge and prior history within the real estate world. And he was willing to answer all my questions and sit with me for hours and just answer all the silly questions. And that's when the research really began. I started, reading books, listening to podcasts, meeting more people, and just digesting as much as I possibly could.
Oh, that's awesome. Is your business partner, is he another firefighter, or is he somebody from outside of the job?
He is. He's a captain with our department. He's been there for quite some time. Prior to that, he worked in real estate doing kind of feasibility studies. I believe his master's in business. Very intelligent guy, and he has a lot of experience within real estate and investing. So it's been fantastic to be able to bounce ideas off him early on. And we work really well together as partners. And he's just kind of opened a lot of doors for me in the knowledge sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's a core tenet of the fire service, right? Is that mentorship piece. I'm sure he's a great mentor on the fire department for you. I'm sure he's shown you the ropes in terms of the different calls that you guys go on together, if you guys work together. And that can translate really well to the outside world of investing, whether it's in real estate or stock market or anything else. I had Matt Praisner on the morning meeting a while back, and he was saying the exact same thing about the mentorship. Now, with that mentorship, a thing that I like to talk about, or I like to say is, everybody would love to have a fantastic mentor like you found yourself, Gabe. But part of like being a good mentee is also bringing something to the table, bringing that hustle, bringing that enthusiasm, bringing that willingness to learn. But also, could you maybe take it a step further and bring something to the table that your mentor themselves might need? You found something in their life that's a sticking point, that's a difficulty for them, and you figured out a way to help them fix that. I mean, that's going to just make anybody really want to take you under their wing. And I'm just, I'm really stoked to hear that that mentorship thing is alive and well in the El Cajon Fire Department.
Yeah, it's hugely important, and it's been great.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that was as you were coming on the job. Now, where are things today? Where do things sit in your real estate investing career sitting here today?
So there's a lot of avenues. We'll kind of start where I'm currently sitting, I guess, and kind of where I'm headed. Our big thing is understanding that San Diego, or at least California as a whole, although there's a lot of opinions back and forth on whether it's a good place or a bad place to invest, especially because of taxes, it always comes up. Ultimately, we feel it's going to be a great long-term decision to invest a good portion of money here, especially in San Diego. We understand the market here, and we do understand that the long-term game is looking at where rents are going to be in the future. And we just suspect with apartments, those are going to continue to grow. At what pace, I don't know. I'm not a economist. I don't know. I'm not going to predict, but looking at the past, my suspicion is they're going to continue to climb up throughout the years. So what we're banking on is kind of the apartments within San Diego that have had poor management. Maybe they're under rented because they've been owned for 20 or 30 years. And the individuals who've owned those maybe haven't kept rents where they need to be. So what we really do in San Diego is a flipping strategy, essentially, with apartments. We're not looking at necessarily buying and holding for the long term in San Diego. We want to bank on being able to capitalize on those rents that are under rented, the units that have a lot of work that needs to be done to them, a deferred maintenance, basically. And as some of your listeners may or may not be aware, obviously apartments are valued on their operating income. So it's not the same as your home or my home. They're strictly valued, not strictly, but mainly valued on what they're bringing in for income and then what their expenses are. So that's where we currently sit. We bought a mixed use recently that was a 6-unit living space, and then it had about 2,000 feet of commercial space that was basically underused. It wasn't functioning properly. So we came in, we turned it from 6 units of living space and commercial to 10 units, all living space, and worked with the city of San Diego to get permits and basically changed what the lot was zoned for, a zone deviation. So we made it from mixed use to all residential, and we're going to be in the process of selling that shortly. And from there, we're kind of looking to also I guess, equate it to the stock world, like value and growth, we're also looking out of state to start collecting a portfolio of cash flowing assets to kind of support our in San Diego business, essentially, just to kind of continuously provide a safe haven of cash flow from something that is not going to necessarily appreciate long term as much as San Diego, but will provide a stable income. So that's kind of what we're playing, is both sides of real estate investing within the apartment world.
Oh, that's awesome. There's a lot to talk about there. Number one, what I'm hearing is you guys are forcing appreciation. And in a market like San Diego, where appreciation is annually in the top 10% nationwide, being able to force even more appreciation is an awesome business strategy. So guys, if you're listening to this, things like in bringing rents up to market rent. Now, we are firefighters. We hold ourselves to a higher level of integrity standards. And so we're not going to gouge anybody. We're not going to we're not going to hike the rent up to outlandish rates, but what's fair is fair. We're going to bring it up to market rents. Can we get in there and can we manage the asset a little better than what it's been in the past? Can we make other improvements to the apartment or the asset itself? All these things are going to just help make this a more valuable asset. And like Gabe's talking about, that's the way a bank is going to look at this thing. So if you go in there and you buy it undervalued, you can make all these improvements, and then you can go back to the bank and say, hey, we've done all these things to make this a better performing asset. Can we maybe do a cash out refi and pull some of our money out, or can we get better terms on the initial loan? So there's all these options that you can do with using the strategy that Gabe's using. And then the part about diversifying the portfolio by going out of state is really, really awesome. That is like really powerful, because not only do you get the diversification of a little more cash flow, because it is hard to find cash flowing properties here especially in Southern California, but you get that little bit of cash flow, but then also you get the diversity of the different markets, right? So if you're, if the real estate market here in San Diego crashes for whatever reason, but you have these other performing assets elsewhere, you're still going to be in good shape.
And I will say, Kyle, to kind of touch on your point, you mentioned, the price gouging and not trying to get the maximum possible penny that you can of every tenant. I would 100% agree with you. It is extremely important for people to realize that the people we rent to, and I'm going to maybe too deep, I'm not sure, but it's a C-class apartment. So A being like brand new construction, and then you slowly work your way down. We have kind of C plus properties. And our whole idea is we want to bring fair housing to the people we rent to. And I think it's important for people that are looking to be landlords not to be cheap. We're not trying to skimp out. We charge what the market rent is, what it will support. But with that comes all new amenities, new parking lot, new security for the tenants. We put in brand new flooring, cabinets, paint, electrical. I mean, you name it. These things have been gutted and completely redone. And we want to provide, a safe product and a safe place for these people to live, because that's what they deserve. And ultimately, it's our reputation on the line when we're doing these apartments. And we don't want to be looked at as, for lack of better terms, I guess, slumlord. We want to be a professional entity and provide good housing to people who are just hardworking folks looking for a place to live.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's really well said. This is a relationship business in real estate investing, and without a solid tenant base, your business model does not work. And so with that being said, you have to take care of them by making improvements, by following up on any maintenance requests that are made, by just being good people. And frankly, you wouldn't be sitting here talking to me as another firefighter if you weren't a good person, right? You've already passed that test by joining the fire department. So along the way, Gabe, I'm sure it hasn't always been smooth sailing. Do you have like a favorite mistake that you look back on thinking, I'm actually glad I did that, or I'm actually glad that happened because I learned a lot from it, or I got better from it, or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could probably go on forever, just like many people who have worked in real estate or invested. We've all made mistakes. And I think early on in investing, we all feel like, oh, I'll do this work myself, or I'll hire someone that's $300 cheaper. It'll save me money. I give an example of a gentleman who was doing painting for us, and he said, I can do fascia boards that were kind of rotted. We wanted those replaced, repainted. And he was $500 cheaper than a guy we've used prior. He was a great painter, but I think when we offered him to do more work, he said, yeah, I could do it, but maybe wasn't highly qualified to do it, ended up ripping apart the roof and the fascia board and basically left it a mess, and just kind of walked away from the job because he didn't understand what he was doing. So it ended up costing us more money because we had to hire now a roofer to come fix the roof he tore apart. They had to fix the fascia boards, the roof, all these little things like that. When you really think you're saving money in the long run, it doesn't save you anything other than maybe a few bucks initially, but the heartache, the headache, and the money long term, it's not worth it. So we've gone basically hire everything out professionally to companies that are very specific in their field, and try not to get people that are the jack of all trade.
Yeah, no, I love that. I had Jessica Marks on recently, and she was saying the same thing, that it takes money to make money. And do you want to turn pro? Do you want to operate this business as a pro, or do you want to just sort of bootstrap it and fly by the seat of your pants and hire the cheapest person to do this job over here? And that's a hard one for us, man, because as a group of people, we tend to be a little bit frugal, right? We tend to try to look for deals here because let's face it, we are at the mercy of our citizens to pay us the wages that they do pay us. So we do have to tend to be a little bit tighter with our finances. Well, when it comes to this sort of stuff, you can get yourself in such trouble that it's really not worth it. And they always say, you have somebody come do work at your house. They can do it cheaply, quickly, or well, but you can only pick two of those things. And it sounds like this guy was cheap. He probably did it quickly, but he didn't do it very well. So I love that mistake. And I've made that same one. So you're a good company. So if somebody's looking to get started in real estate, Gabe, where would be a good place to start? I mean, there's so many different avenues that you could go down. I mean, it's almost unlimited. Where would be a good place for somebody to start?
It's tough to maybe pinpoint one specific. Obviously, living in the information age, we have everything free at our fingertips. And I've definitely seen kind of a shift in the FIREhouse of that generation of individuals who are there no longer having to work that second job of being a framer, a plumber, an electrician, which used to be the kind of the old school way of doing things. Guys, I think, are getting wiser with their time, and internet is going to be what I'm going to suggest. Obviously, Google. I mean, there's a ton of resources out there like yours that offer a variety of information for people to start to read and digest. And as we know, it's very easy to go down that rabbit hole. And this is one of those rabbit holes on the internet that you could just chase forever. And it's worth chasing because there's so much information and good information out there. Now, I will say that there's also a lot of people who think the get rich quick with real estate, here's how you do it. There is no get rich quick with real estate. It's a long-term game. We're building wealth. You're trying to create freedom with that income. And people need to realize that before they start kind of diving into some of that information. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah, that's perfectly said, man. And there are so many, just scoundrels, frankly, that are out there trying to prey on people that are just trying to get their feet wet. They're trying to get involved. They're trying to learn a little bit more. And there's so many people out there that are more than willing to sell you some $500, seminar to get you in this get rich quick real estate scam. But guys, that does not exist. Just like Gabe's talking about, it's a slow and steady burn over time is what builds true wealth in the real estate investing industry. So that's well said. Looking back, if you could go back to your probationary self, or when you were back with Cal Fire, or even as a rookie with El Cajon, what piece of advice would you give yourself?
Start learning finances sooner the better. Not understanding finances, not understanding where your dollar's going or how you're spending each dollar was a huge mistake. It was money in, money out, just every paycheck, not understanding the general gist of where my money's going. Why is it disappearing? What am I spending it on? I think that's hugely important. I would have told myself a long time ago, even though I didn't know investing back then, just saving money would have been tremendously helpful. And the thing is, I think people don't save because they don't know what they're saving for. There's no real goal, potentially. They don't know where they're investing or what their plan is. And I think when people don't have an end goal or something in mind to save for, like a vacation, people have no problem. If they know they want to go on vacation, they will save money for it or buy that car or whatever the case is. It is extremely important just to start saving, whether it's $5 a month, $10 a month, whatever you can afford. start saving, because in a year, in 2 years, or 5 years, or 10 years, you might suddenly come across real estate, stocks. Who knows? You might find something that just totally grabs you and you're like, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to invest. And now you will have a nest egg of money to start putting away into something that's going to pay you forever.
I mean, I've heard that advice so often, and sometimes it's, it's simple, but it's not easy. And listen to what he's
Yes.
saying, guys. Have a plan. If that plan is to buy real estate, well, you better start saving. And by the way, if you have a huge amount of credit card debt racked up, don't even think about start saving and start investing until you get that credit card thing paid off. Build up an emergency fund. Don't get me wrong. Build up an emergency fund. Put away some money that'll you can lean on in case emergencies come up. Get rid of that credit card debt and then start saving, because he's absolutely right. This real estate thing, guys, is so good long term that you will have a cash flow generating property forever if you do it right. But you do have to get a plan going. And what I'm hearing you say, Gabe, is be intentional, right? Don't just fly by the seat of your pants.
Absolutely.
Money in, money out. You have no idea where anything's going. Be intentional. Get a plan going. Start saving, and you'll be on the road just like Gabe.
For me, it's been a huge kind of, I think, discovery for me is understanding that finance is important, but you kind of mentioned it, that being intentional and the whole mindset shift that people need to have is tremendously important too. It's not just understanding just the dollar, but really grasping the mentality it takes to be an investor, the emotions that go along with that. And every great entrepreneur, investor, they take care of their mind. They understand what it means to be mentally tough, to continue to learn, and through the ups and downs that they just have to maintain. And that's hard for people. But keep that in mind, is that being mentally strong while you're investing is extremely important as well.
No, that's well said, man. We talk about having a probie mindset or a rookie mindset. Like when you first come on the job, everything's brand new. You're excited. You're learning everything. You have this open mind to you can do anything. Well, you have to use that same approach when it comes to your investing. Continue to learn, continue to reach out to the senior people that have been there, have made the mistakes already, and then you slowly start to chip away at that thing. But we do have that insidious mindset, Gabe, where we're blue collar folks. This investing world is too hard. It's for other people. It's for white collar folks.
Yeah.
We have to get rid of that, because we have to take care of ourselves. We have to take care of each other. And it's conversations just like that, just like this, that'll help us do that. And yeah, man, with that, I think we got knocked down on your first alarm.
Fantastic.
Awesome. So, hey, Gabe, if people are looking to learn more about you, where could they find you?
So I have my Facebook. It's just my name, Gabe, Gabe. My last name, Belloli, B as in boy, Elloli. And my Instagram is RE_wealth building. That's kind of where I focus a lot of my real estate stuff that I'm kind of getting into, and just documenting more of that. But anyone's free to hit me up. And if you have questions, I love talking with people. If you want to chat, meet up, always available.
Awesome. I'll link to all that stuff in the show notes, Gabe. I want to thank you for your service to the city of El Cajon and for all the information you've given us today.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be part of your show.
Awesome. All right. Hey, thanks again to Gabe for meeting me here in the bullpen. Guys, if you're looking for somebody that's out there taking intentional action, it's Gabe. He found a mentor, found somebody that could kind of show him the ropes, take him under his wing, but then he went out there and really got busy. He brought his skills to the table, combined that with his mentor skills, and now they're out there just making great moves. If you'd like to learn more about Gabe, you can find him on Facebook at Gabe Belloli, or on Instagram at RE_wealth building. That's RE_wealth building. If you'd like to learn more about us, we're on Facebook at The FIREhouse. That's f.i.r.ehouse. On Instagram, the _fire_house. On LinkedIn, The FIREhouse Investors, or any place you listen to podcasts. If you learned something today and you'd like to hear more, please like, share, and subscribe. But no matter what you do, take this information, go out there, and get some. Station F.